Welcome back to Death Before Booze. I'm Sam.
I'm Jen.
Hi, Jen.
Hi, Sam.
And Emma's here, just moving the microphone around. So this
Emma's
is going
here.
to be so fun.
If you're watching us on YouTube, like I had a logo in front of Emma's face the whole time. And so that's what the random logo is on your screen. I don't think anybody watches YouTube, but if you do, that's
If
fine.
you do, and you're wondering why did Jen put a huge logo on only half of Sam's face, it is because Emma wanted to make a cameo. But we don't really want her face out in the world. So
exactly. She's too cute for that.
This is what's happening. So right now we are trying a new tactic where the microphone covers her. Unfortunately, she is very intrigued by said microphone.
She is.
And is trying to eat it. So we're just going to see how this episode goes.
We'll see how this goes.
If the sound is terrible, I'm blaming my daughter.
Okay.
If the quality is terrible, I will also blame my daughter.
Yeah, but it's okay.
If everything's great and you love every minute of it, that's because of Jen and I, obviously. So glad we got that out of the way.
So here we go. So
speaking of, my daughter wants to eat the microphone. Today's topic is
today's topic is naughty neighbors.
Naughty neighbors. That's you. You're being naughty.
That's it.
Trying to eat the microphone. Okay. So this is... Ooh, I go second. Tell me a story.
Yeah. So this is the case of John Harper Jr. And this is, I don't think you're going to expect where it's going. So I'm just going to say that much.
Is this a good thing Sam's going second today type of, I'm not going to expect what's going to happen?
I don't think it's as bad as some of the other ones. I just think that it's kind of like,
cool,
all right, that happened.
Cool.
So we're in Spring Valley, California.
Excellent.
In 1995, 30 years ago.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Right? Is that scary?
30 years ago. I was 6.
Oh, well, my brother turns 30 this year because he was born in 95, so I'm like, holy shit. Like, it's really scary when you have siblings and you're the oldest and you're like, what happened? Why? It's bad.
Yeah, I get it.
Well, anyway, so this is a rural area. It's kind of spread out. There's diverse families in the area, and a majority of the families are married and middle class. So
perfect.
It's east of San Diego, and there is a semi-rural area. So I was like, all right, called Dictionary Hill, which I thought was the coolest name ever for this particular little town.
Doesn't it kind of sound like something that should be out of like Barney? Let's go to Dictionary Hill today, guys, and learn today's new word.
Like a Sesame Street type of thing.
Oh
like
my
it's
God,
like
Sesame Street got bought out by Netflix. Thank you, Netflix. Way to keep it going.
Netflix.
Good job.
I still love that. I still love Sesame Street.
Yeah.
You can go to Dictionary Hill. You can get all your
words. Go to the Thesaurus Creek and learn what words are like those.
I just thought this sounded so fake, but I was like, no, there really is. Really is.
Yeah.
There really is a rural area in this little town in California called Dictionary Hill. So this is where our story takes place. Now, we'll backtrack to 1992. John Harper Jr. moved back in with his parents. He was 45 at the time.
That sucks.
And he took good care of his parents.
Oh, that's good.
They saw them as helping. He was very loving towards them. But the rest of the neighbors didn't find John so helpful. And here's why.
The fuck do I care?
John had a reputation of being a meth user.
Oh,
but also he was a huge bully to the neighbors. And it seemed that he had a lot of anger issues, but it wasn't really clear where it came from.
Probably lack of meth.
I mean, listen.
I mean, if you're a meth user, you run out at some point, and then
right,
I need more
and
meth, and I'm pissy that I have to go get it. It's like when you run out of milk the second you decide to make, like, a baking
Jell-O?
something. And
like a Jell-O pudding? Like, oh my God.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
That's the
I'm going to
best.
make chocolate
And you're
pudding.
like,
wait, where's my milk?
no, we can't.
I'd get pissed.
Yes.
I get it.
I guess I could see that. But also, it kind of seems like the anger, a lot of the neighbors were like, I don't understand why you're this angry and why you're being such an asshole. So.
Could it be? Wait, I'm going to spit fire right here. Could it be that he doesn't want to talk to the fucking neighbors? Mind your own goddamn business. Don't talk to me.
It could.
Okay.
But here's the thing.
Oh, okay.
They're not talking to John because John is an asshole to them for no reason whatsoever. So, and we're going to talk about a couple of things. So before you're like, well, I don't want to talk to you because you're terrible. Like, you're my neighbor and I don't want to talk to you.
I don't want to talk to you.
Think about how this story goes. So
okay, I'm ready.
He'd racked up a criminal history. He actually had 11 pages of prior incidents.
Oh, damn. That's an overachiever right there. Could he go for 12? Make it an even number?
I know, right? Well, so there were 2 felonies, several misdemeanors, and he had been to a juvenile facility. So it seems that John found himself back in this neighborhood. Probably just terrible things were going on for him.
Okay.
And you want to feel bad for him. However, he had a car that he would tailgate people, the neighbors.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He would run cars off the road.
So he's the gremlin in this situation.
He's the gremlin.
Okay.
And he would get aggressive with neighbors, telling them, I know where you live.
No shit. It's a
and
neighbor.
They're like, yeah, we know. Literally, the neighborhood is very small. Like,
cool
but
story,
it was just,
bro.
Like, you're the one who ran me off the road. Like, I don't know what's happening. So, one incident happened in 1994. So a woman named Melody Hurt had her daughter in the car with her. And her daughter probably was like 8 or 9. John pulled up really close to her car.
Okay.
And he started revving the engine.
Okay.
So Melody's like, all right, we're on a narrow and curvy road. I don't know this guy's problem, but I'm going to pull over and let him pass. So she did the whole pull over, let him pass, whatever. He didn't. Okay.
This is where I slow down and give you the finger and be like, figure it the fuck out.
I agree. Like, it's if you're in a, but you know what? She did the right thing. You're in a hurry. Got it. Okay, fine. But he continues to rev his engine. And he was yelling, shaking his fist at her, and following extremely closely. So Melody got really scared at this point. And the road became so windy that she had to slow down. And actually, John, because he was so close, hit her bumper pretty hard.
And now it's her fault because she slowed down. Yep.
He pulled alongside of them. So after they get past the roundy road, he crosses the yellow line, is side by side with her, and her daughter is terrified.
Oh my God.
I would be if I were that young. So she's like, what the hell's happening? And Melody's like, I don't know if he had a weapon. I'm not really sure what was going on. So she sped up and she turned into a random driveway thinking, okay.
He'll leave me alone now.
Yes.
But he didn't.
So she actually turned into the driveway and she was beeping the horn, hoping that someone would come out and be like, what the fuck's happening? Nobody was out. So after a few minutes, she was like, all right, it seems like I lost him. Big surprise, because he was waiting for her when she got out of the driveway.
Oh my God. And we didn't have that big Zach Morrison cell phone.
No.
Of course not. Of course not. Even M sees that. Yeah, I know. Dumb.
So she sped ahead because, again, not knowing what the hell's wrong with him. Luckily, she was a school was close by, so she pulled into the school and there were custodians outside. So they saw him following her and they, of course, then called the cops.
Good.
So John left because he saw, oh shit, but was later arrested for reckless driving.
Thank God.
He should be. Now, up to this point, John had always towed the line between I'm being a menace, but I'm not being so much of a menace that I can get arrested for it. And it pissed the neighbors off because they're like, you're basically threatening me, but I can't do anything about it because, like, you're not doing anything so bad that the cops can do anything about it.
Yep.
So, now, John, even before he went to court for this whole incident with Melody, he was overheard saying, if the neighborhood thought I was bad before, wait until now. And so, all right, okay, this is a threat.
Wow, aren't you big and bad?
Not only did Melody testify against John in court, but so did one of the other neighbors named Danny Palm. And so we're going to talk about Danny for a little bit because he's also a part of this story. Uh-huh. Dan is a member of the community. He had 29 years of experience in the military. Mm-hmm. Once he retired, he and his wife moved into their dream home in Spring Valley. So they're living the life now.
Yeah.
Everything's great. Dan and a group of neighbors before this had met with the sheriff and said, listen, this guy's doing things that are unsafe. He's making us feel unsafe. We can't live this way. The sheriff was like, listen, I don't have any tangible evidence that gives me the right to do anything. Because he hasn't, yes, he's made whatever, fine, but he hasn't acted on anything. He hasn't done anything to be arrested for. So they felt like nobody was really helping them out and there wasn't a lot they could do. So they kind of felt like, well, this guy's a fucking asshole. Our neighbor's a piece of shit and I don't know what to do about it.
I guess they never saw Roadhouse, huh?
So Dan kept pushing, though, because he's like, this is really not fair. So he went to the San Diego police, who said it wasn't in their jurisdiction. So then he was passed on to another department. Until he started working with a department called Safe Streets Now. Which, all right. Dan had notes that contained 150 incidents involving John, with 42 different people affected. So with the Safe Streets Now involved, they did attempt to contact John's parents. But John's parents didn't give them a response. So after getting no response, parents weren't really helping out, doing anything. Hey, your son's a menace and whatever. So because they contacted mom and dad, did nothing. Street Safes Now was like, we can't, whatever.
Well, but what are they, Dan crossing guards?
I don't know what they do. I don't know if it's like, it's not police, obviously.
Yeah, definitely not.
The police aren't doing crap. So it's like, all right. So now that Dan testified against him too, to show, well, yeah, he did this, like this incident with Melody. I wasn't there, but he's testifying to his character and how he's a fucking psychopath. So John is furious and was like, I'm going to retaliate against anybody who testifies against me. So November 28th, 1995, this is the end of John's trial. So the jury was unable to come to a verdict on his reckless driving.
Seriously?
So John, I know, right? Like clearly her bumper's gone, with that, not gone, but like hit. So like, all right. So John pled guilty to a lesser charge and he was charged $500. Okay. Knowing he was basically getting no consequence for the crime, the neighbors were terrified because they're like, oh shit. Now he's going to try to get revenge because he's a freaking psychopath.
Yep.
So, after leaving court that day, John took some speed because that's what you do.
As you do.
As you do.
I mean, we have to celebrate, right?
I know.
Instead of paying my $500 bill, I will use that $500 and get some, get coked up. No problem. No notes.
Exactly. He got some food, and then he proceeded to park his car right in front of the Palm residence.
Oh,
now,
no.
Dan had no idea about the verdict. He wasn't there. He came one day to testify, and then he was like, I'm out. So clearly, he wasn't expecting John idling outside his home, and his wife was pretty scared. Like, what the fuck? Like, what's happening? Now, Dan was like, all right, I don't know what's going on. So he grabbed his gun and walked outside. But this is when John took off and was like, whatever. So Dan was like, you know what? Let me follow this guy and see what the hell his problem is.
No.
I don't think that's a good choice. But
you call your sheriff buddy and say, hey, look.
And say, hey,
this guy's menacing. He's menacing now. He's standing outside my house watching
just
us. That's called
standing
medicine.
there, and I don't know exactly.
I don't know. It's like Children of the Corn out here in Dictionary Hill.
A dictionary. So John had waved Dan on as if for him to pass him. So he's like, all right, he sees the car behind him. He's like, whatever. But based on his track record, Dan took this as pass me so I can do whatever, so I can, because that's just what he's done. So Dan's like, all right. He pulls up next to John's car. He shows John the gun and proceeds to load it, which didn't seem to make Dan nervous. He just kept, or John didn't seem to be nervous. He just kept yelling back and being like, you and your family are as good as dead, blah, 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 all these type of, So Dan shoots him with the .45 caliber pistol.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. Now,
what?
Somehow, when he shot him, John released the brake on the truck, which sent the truck rolling down the hill. It veered right and hit a tree.
You're right. I did not see this happen this way. No.
It gets even worse. Because then Dan, for whatever reason, shot him 7 more times, reloaded, and emptied another magazine into him. So he shot John 13 times, 9 went through his body.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
Yeah.
That's not the best of aim.
It's
like, how far away?
Well, he after the car hit the tree, he went to it and was just kind of.
Oh.
So, but the fact that he unloaded and then reloaded and did this, like.
Yeah.
All right. So then.
That is something else.
Dan drives to an open field. He hides the gun and then he comes home.
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here. So once John was discovered, helicopters started flying overhead, kind of seeing whatever. Not sure what the hell the scenes are. But Dan pretended.
And here's Dan going,
exactly.
Helicopters.
What's going on out
here? Could be happening. Huh.
I don't know what's happening.
He's the guy at the edge of the driveway with his hands on his waist going, something must have happened out here.
Exactly. I wonder what's going on. We should all talk about it in the neighborhood.
I was at my sink. I was cleaning a dish. I will bring my dish. It can be Exhibit A.
Literally, that's it. It's like literally is what happened. So then, of course, they find out that it's Dan. So he,
How did they find out it was Dan?
I mean,
how? It's not like you had cameras. It's not like how. Who ratted?
I don't know exactly the details on that because for some reason it's not in my notes because I just for whatever reason was like that's not important, but but it was eventually like, hey, your car was seen, around the same time you guys were. So I something happened. And eventually, I'm assuming he admitted to it eventually because he's not the type of guy to be like, oh, I'm gonna. So in his testimony, he said he didn't remember shooting John because he got to the confrontation and then he blacked out. He expressed no remorse for killing John, but he did recognize, yes, I lost control, and I regret that, because that was not okay. It was also said that John had ingested meth earlier that day, so not only the speed that he took afterwards. I mean, I don't know. So
when I get fucked up.
Right. So I mean, he got real fucked up. So.
He got fucked up. Really got fucked multiple ways.
So Dan was convicted of second-degree murder. A second-degree murder conviction carries a mandatory 15 years, and a firearm conviction maximum of 10. So he's facing at this point like at least 25 years that he's got.
You can't do those concurrently? I mean, all right.
So After the conviction, a lot of the neighbors actually went to the judge and begged for leniency for Dan, saying, here are the notes, okay? Here are the 100 and some odd incidents with John. You know, he ran us all off the road. Here are the times we went to the cops and asked for help and got no help. Here's what happened for everything else, the reckless driving and whatever. So he's not a bad guy. This was something that was building. His wife... This
was an isolated
Exactly.
incident.
His wife said to the judge, quote, John Harper was an uncontrollable drug addict who instilled incredible havoc and fear because logic didn't apply to him. So kind of hoping that, like, yeah, I know that this was wrong. Obviously, you can't just vigilante justice things, but when...
Well, you can if you shut your fucking mouth and don't get caught.
I know. I'm sorry.
I'm
because
not,
that was my
let me
fault.
Time out. Let me put the asterisk here. Don't go shooting people.
I
for
agree.
Vigilante justice.
I agree.
But if it's already happened, shut the fuck up about it.
I agree.
Yeah. You don't know anything until they show you
Oh,
a video
there's helicopters.
of you doing this. Yeah. Oh shit. There's a helicopter. Wow.
Oh, he's dead? Huh. That's crazy.
What happened?
I
cannot believe it.
I don't have that gun. I did
What's
have
a gun? I had a gun. I bet John stole it. Can you prove he didn't shoot himself 13 times? Because there was this one time I heard a song about some guy running into some bitch's knife 10 times. It could happen.
I mean, it could happen.
It could happen.
Oh, so once the judge received the letter from Carol, this is kind of what showed him and was like, all right, to give a little leniency. She explained, due to his military training, Dan tended to keep his feelings bottled up and he isn't able to express regret for killing. So her thing is he didn't express remorse, not because John deserved it, but because he's a military guy and they're very hard and like I get that. But
this is how the American justice system trained him to
exactly. So
right.
The judge did decide, let's lessen the sentence. So Dan was sentenced to 10 years only in prison, rather than the possible 25 that he was facing. The judge said the killing was more heat of passion, voluntary manslaughter, rather than second degree. He would have never done it had he never been pushed. And like, all right, he did chase after him with the gun. He did show him the gun, and he did, reload the magazine and, but that's, if he wasn't pushed to that brink, it wouldn't have happened. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is, you know what? Okay. I get that. So.
I mean, I don't love it, but I understand it.
So the judge sentenced him 6 years for the manslaughter and 4 for the firearms conviction. So 10 total. With time off for good behavior, he actually could be paroled in 7 years.
Cool.
The judge did say he knew many would attack him publicly because of this decision, but he insisted not all victims are blameless. So, yes, I understand that this guy did what he did, and it's not okay. We know this, but it's not okay. But it's not like John was this perfect neighbor. So he also said, John was a drug abuser who terrified and harassed his neighbors with his reckless driving, his threats. He threw rocks at people. He would try to
rocks.
I know, right?
Not the rocks.
Who threw a shoe? And running people off the road. He said, quote, occasionally in the real world, victims bring about their own death. The victim set the wheels in motion for his own death, but it was not a legal killing or justifiable killing. So, again, fucking fuck around and find out is like what the judge fucking said. So, and again, it's kind of a tough situation when you're looking at this because you're kind of like, I get it because I don't like it, but I do. Right. And of course, John's family, because at this point Dan has been paroled and he's back at home and he's fine. And he's living his life, So how John's family is still convinced that their son wasn't a bully and was killed in cold blood by a monster. So their thought process is, no, this guy just randomly, without cause, just gunned down our son.
Oh, because I'm picturing in my head this beautiful cul-de-sac. You're like, follow me on this journey.
This is what I picture.
Beautiful cul-de-sac. Everybody has these beautifully manicured lawns. And then there's this house.
Yeah.
That is overgrown. There's like extra tires lying around. The garbage cans are all like flipped over. There's beer cans everywhere. Somebody had a fire that was not sanctioned and burned half the siding off of the house. You know what I mean? There's just shit everywhere. And they're like, no, our son was the perfect child. Yep. There was no reason to do anything. As he's in the backyard, hurting animals. Like, this is what I'm picturing.
I know.
It literally it could not be, but
this
is what's going through my head.
I don't know a lot of background on John prior to this because the
except for those 11 pages of bullshit.
Except for the 11 pages of
except for those.
But like it doesn't seem like he was I don't know. It doesn't seem like he already was a good person. He was struggling with stuff. Mom and Dad just saw, oh, but he's taking good care of us. Yeah, because you're letting him stay there. Like,
well, I mean, if taking good care of you means he brought you milk once a week and didn't burn down the house, I mean,
I'm
when
taking
you set the bar that low, I'm taking really good care of a lot of things.
Taking really good care of shit. So I don't know. So this is one of those that was really, it was hard to find. So there's not a lot, like you can see that there's not a lot of resources I got for this one. But again, it was so like
what the fuck?
Yeah, so that's why I said
it's just a what the fuck.
That's why I said this is going to be not what you expect. And it's
that was a turn.
Yeah.
That one took a turn.
It definitely did.
Turn.
It was
turn.
Not for
at least there weren't 13 kids.
That's fair. There were no extra
Nobody
kids.
ate each other.
Nope.
Nope. There was no real, horrific death. I mean, it sucks you got shot 13 times and hit a tree, but...
Yeah, I know. That's...
You've done worse. Good job.
I have done worse.
You've done worse.
I have.
All right. So now it's my turn.
Yes.
And let's see how long Little Miss lets me tell my story. So I am covering, for Naughty Neighbors, Pukwudgies.
I remember you said you were going to cover the Pukwudgies.
I love the Pukwudgies. Okay, so Pukwudgie is loosely translated to person of the wild. They are the oldest mythical creatures in North America. They have been featured on the show Paranormal State, and they were first referenced in a book in 1855 by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow in the epic poem called The Song of Hiawatha.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So when it comes to these Pukwudgies, they go a lot of different ways. All right. So we're getting a lot of information on a lot of different things. Just stick with me and ask questions if you need.
Okay.
I totally understand. So Pukwudgie is a magical creature considered to be spirits of the forest. They are human-like creatures, but they are also compared to trolls or goblins. They are sometimes said to be 2 or 3 foot tall. They have a huge pot belly, gray skin, really big fingers, and now sometimes it's long, sometimes it's fat. I mean, I don't know if they're chode fingers. I really don't know.
I was going to say, what kind of pig are we talking about?
Yeah. They have wiry black hair that can be on top of their head, all over their body. Sometimes the black hair glows. I don't know what black glowing looks like, but hey. They have big eyes, dog-like noses. And I don't really know why people are smelling them, but it's said that they have a flowery, sweet scent.
Which is not what you would expect from what you just described. So
No, gray skin and wiry black hair does not make me think of peonies. Yes, but there you go. They are most notably of the Wampanoag folklore. They are found in forests that are associated with paranormal activity. They're found in Delaware, Prince Edward Island, parts of Indiana, specifically the Mound State Park area in Anderson. And there is a major penitentiary facility in that Anderson area. They're found in Round Rock, Texas, which is allegedly the densest population of Bigfoot. They have the densest population of Bigfoot there, which I think is weird. Like, wouldn't you think it'd be Oregon? I mean, considering how much you see Bigfoot in Oregon? I don't know. And then closest to us, ow, girlfriend, that is attached to my head. And then closest to us is Massachusetts, specifically Cape Cod, Fall River. So in Cape Cod, but also in the Bridgewater Triangle, specifically Freetown State Forest, or what's called the Ledge. They've also been seen in Fall River.
That's so weird because they're not like, it's not like an East Coast or what. It's all over. They're just like,
yeah. There is an explanation for that. I will get to it. But the whole paranormal side of this is, it's thought that the Pukwudgies could be the cause of the paranormal activity in places like the Bridgewater Triangle. But it could also be that mischief and weird shit follow them. So like in Indiana, where that penitentiary is, they went to this area because the penitentiary is there and there's a lot of mischief and bad energy for them to feed off of. So it's like a little bit of, it can go both ways. And then, the same thing with like the Bridgewater Triangle. There's lots of aliens, other cryptids. I mean, we did the Dover Demon. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of, they could be the cause of it, or they could be hanging out there because all this other stuff is there and they're just like, let's chill.
That's fair.
Okay. Blah, 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 blah. So folklorists have pointed out that the story of the Pukwudgies actually originated in the Ojibwe people in the Great Lakes region of the United States. But it seems like the Massachusetts Pukwudgies, we're of the Massachusetts Pukwudgies. They have the most information about them. So they're a race of little people, and I don't mean that in a derogatory sense. Like, this isn't a TLC episode. Please don't be upset with me. For a cryptid type thing, they're considered little people. Think leprechauns, trolls, goblins, gremlins, shit like that. Because
they're small, too, but they're like 2 feet tall, so that's not...
Yeah.
They're just... It's not like a... Yeah.
They're just little.
They're just babies.
They're just babies. They're not babies. So they're found in the stories of the Wampanoag people of Massapee on Cape Cod. They live in saltwater marshes around Popponesset Bay. Nailed it. And that's south of Mashpee. Oh, it's Mashpee, like mashed peas. Think of Massachusetts, mashed peas. Okay. So the Pukwudgies, they build houses out of tall marsh grasses and organize themselves into 7 bands that have a chief over each and an even more powerful head chief who is a great magician, according to the folklore. And it's presiding over 7 lower chiefs. And I think it's super cute that we learned all about their politics and hierarchies. But it's really because this kind of is fashioned after the Wampanoag people. That's how their society is. So they're like, oh yeah, obviously the Pukwudgies do this too. I mean, why wouldn't they?
Right.
So Pukwudgies are said to be the enemies of cultural heroes, the giant Mooshop and his wife Granny Squannet. So the story from the Wampanoag folklore explains that they began causing mischief and tormenting the natives out of jealousy of the devotion and affection the natives had for Mooshop. Oh. And, okay, so Mooshop is this giant, like we said. And, he was, like, super nice to the natives. Like, he'd go out in the ocean and get them, like, whales to eat. And he would, like, keep them safe. And, like, they'd be like, oh, Mooshop, we're hungry. And he'd go and get them, like, a killer whale and be like, all right, here, eat this, like NBD. Hi, yes, thank you. He also helped, he put a whole bunch of rocks and ash in the ocean and created Cape Cod for the Wampanoag people. So, like, nice. Yeah, I mean, I get it. But the Pukwudgies, they were trying to be as helpful to the Wampanoag as well. And the tribe was like, yeah, cool, thanks so much. But Mooshop's our guy, man. Like, you know, he got me a whale. Like, of course I'm going to hang out with him. Mm-hmm. So the Pukwudgies kept trying harder and harder to get attention, and slowly but surely it started to be mischievous, and they were getting salty about it. I know. So the Wampanoag started seeing it as like a nuisance. And they're like, yo, this is not it. Like, these guys, they, like, keep coming around. I mean, I've told them no. They keep saying, I want to buy you a drink. And we're like, we really don't want to go for a drink. You know, we're seeing this other guy, Mooshop. And they're just not taking the hint. So they go to Mooshop's wife, Squanit. Squantit? Granny Squanit. There we go. Squanit. That's how you say it. They go to Squanit. And basically, they went and tattled to Squanit. And she goes to Mooshop, and she's like, yo, these Pukwudgies, man, they're, like, really bothering our native friends. And Mooshop's like, hold my beer. I got this. So he picks up all of the Pukwudgies in his hand. Do not pull on that. Thank you. He picks them all up in his hand, shakes them up like dice, and throws them as far as he can. So...
I mean, that's a strategy.
Yeah, unfortunately, quite a few of the Pukwudgies died.
Oh.
But, you know, some made it to Indiana, some made it to Texas, some made it.
Okay, all right. So he was
to all these places.
So he's like a
Prince Edward Island. Okay. Yeah, he like hurled them.
Was like, don't care, just
go. So now the Pukwudgies that survived and could find each other, they found each other and were like, okay, we're gonna go back home. And they were super pissed.
I mean, yeah.
And I get it.
Yeah.
So they decided to take revenge. And they went to the Wampanoag village. And they burned it down. And then they started attacking people, women and children, and killing them slowly, painfully.
I mean, it's a choice, but I don't know. I mean, I get it. You were thrown.
You literally got picked up like Yahtzee dice and thrown however far away from the only home you've known, all because you were just trying to be nice and wanted people to pay attention to you.
Okay. You're right.
Okay.
I just think it was a little bit, it was.
I think it's a bit much on both sides. I
mean, no, that's fair.
Really overcorrected on this one, but yeah. So the Wampanoags go back to Mooshop, and they're like, oh my god, they're like, you know, Godzilla's attacking the village, help. So he sends his 5 sons to go and save them because, you know, he's a little busy getting whales and making Cape Cod. Well, the Pukwudgies kill all 5 sons. So now Mooshop's like, fuck you guys. And he comes down and is like, what the fuck? Now, here is where the story is a little different depending on what variety of Wampanoag you have. It's either he came down and looked at the Pukwudgies and was like, I'm good, and left. Or the Pukwudgies also killed Mooshop. Could go either way. Because from this point on, giants were never discussed in the Wampanoag legends again.
Interesting.
But yeah, depending on where it is, either he went away or he was
killed.
Also brutally murdered, like his sons. I'm not really sure what happened to the wife, but...
Interesting.
There you go. So, after that, and they're done with their tirade, the Pukwudgies dispersed throughout New England and went back to where they kind of, like, fell off because, you know, some of their dead loved ones were there and they wanted to chill there. So then, again, why we are so dispersed across the United States now. Okay, so according to lore, they are a warlike people possessing powerful magic. They are considered tricksters. A person who annoyed a Pukwudgie would be subject to their nasty tricks for it and subjected to by being followed by the Pukwudgie, who would then cause trouble for them. Around the time of King Philip's War, so the settlers came in, they started taking over and, like, you know, pissing off, you know, the Native Americans and all that. I mean, asshole white men, you get it.
Yeah.
Well, they started, you know, working more with the Native Americans and talking to the Native Americans, specifically about Christianity. And, Native Americans started telling the settlers about our Pukwudgie friends. Well, in Christianity, there's no space for Pukwudgies. There's no tricksters. What do tricksters get identified as? Demons.
Yep.
So they were lovingly referred to as Satan's little helpers.
Oh, no. All right.
Yeah. And unfortunately, because of the settlers' view of Pukwudgies, we will never actually be sure if they were always violent and evil, or if they had just been mysterious little tricksters, and then, the whole thing with the Wampanoags happened, and they kind of grew into their naughty neighbors type thing. Either way, if you see a Pukwudgie, best practice dictates that you just walk away. Give them a wide berth. Don't look at them. Don't talk to them. Just be like, I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything. I'm going to keep going. You hear a whistle in the woods? No, you didn't. You hear your name called in the woods? No, you didn't. You see a Pukwudgie? No, you didn't.
Yeah. Well, that's fair. I think that's a fair thing. I think
so.
I think that's a lesson to be learned from them. Don't fuck with Pukwudgies. But
don't
also,
fuck with Pukwudgies. Just leave them alone.
Also,
they don't want to fuck with you.
They don't. It doesn't seem that
They're
way.
over it.
It doesn't seem that way. It seems like they're pretty okay, just living.
Okay. They just want to live in their forest with their other paranormal friends, and
maybe do some fun things. Maybe trick people. They don't know.
They don't know what they want to do.
Nope.
No clue. Okay. So this part it varies by cultural region. So Pukwudgies are known to appear and disappear at will. They can shapeshift. Most commonly, they form a creature that looks like a porcupine from the back, and then like half troll, half human in the front, and it walks upright. So I'm kind of thinking like, what are those, hedgehogs?
Yeah.
But like, not as cute.
But like scary.
I don't know. Yeah.
But like a scary hedgehog.
They've also been known to shapeshift into cougars. So, I mean, we could, anything you want. They lure people to their deaths, and then they can control the Typewonkas, and a Typewonka is the soul of those that they have killed. So they're going to kill you, and then they're going to fuck with your soul afterwards.
So like a necromancer, they can kind of,
Or a demon. They can use magic. They can launch poisonous arrows. They can create fire. And there's a Massachusetts fire department by the Freetown Forest, and they've actually put measures in place in the event that the Pukwudgies start a fire. They know what to do to stop it.
Fantastic. I love that.
They are also known to scare people, throw rocks, kidnap people, especially kids.
Well, yeah.
Lure people places like cliffs, and then push them off said cliffs, like the ledge in the Bridgewater Triangle. They attack their victims with short knives and spears, and all I'm picturing is Gulliver's Travels.
That's fair. Yep.
They use sand to blind their victims, and that made me think of Dwight because, the eyes are the groin of the face. Like, there's just so many things. But if the Pukwudgie like you, be careful because they could follow you home and stalk you.
But why? But why would you stalk me if you like me? Leave me alone.
Because they have no chill.
Yeah, no, it's fair. They don't.
They just don't have chill. I mean, it's okay. I mean, but that happens. Okay. If you see only one Pukwudgie, be careful. It's probably trying to lure you into a trap because they are considered pack animals. So they're probably trying to get you to a place where all the other Pukwudgies are hiding so they can all jump out and attack you.
Yeah.
There are stories, though, that if you do things to appease them, like leave them little gifts, they will just leave you alone. I really don't know what the gifts are, though, so I would go with whatever crows want, because crows are the epitome of awesome.
Yes. Like, again, feed them crows, and sometimes they give you gifts back. The Pukwudgies just leave you alone, so...
I can be okay with that.
I could be fine with that.
Okay. So a lot of places have kind of leaned into this legend, like that town in Massachusetts. So they actually put out Pukwudgie crossing signs back in like the 90s, early 2000s. They said that they were putting them up because it was Pukwudgie mating season, but nobody actually knows when the Pukwudgie mating season is, so they put them up for April Fool's Day, but I don't think they ever took them down.
I love that. They forgot to take them down. They're like, oh, shit.
I don't think they forgot. I think they went, this is fun. But ever since these signs went up, people are claiming to actually see the creatures on the road. So if, like, you stop on this road for like a few minutes, especially at night, like let's say you're checking your lipstick, you're changing your GPS, you know, you're putting on your favorite podcast Up Before Booze at midnight on this random road in the middle of Massachusetts. People see these little human type creatures come out of the woods and begin to approach the car.
I don't know.
I don't like it.
Lock it, run them over if you need to. I don't know.
Oh, don't do that. Remember what happened to Moo Shop? Yeah, don't do that. They're going to come back and burn down the village.
They're going to burn down the village.
They're going to come burn down the village. Okay. So here's a couple stories of people who have witnessed the Pukwudgies. So a woman named Joan claims that she was walking her dog in the forest on a spring day in the 1990s, but her dog ran off a path and dragged her into the woods. When the dog finally stopped, she found herself staring at a strange little being standing on a rock. She described it looking like a troll, 2 feet high with pale gray skin and hair on his arms and on the top of his head. His torso made up a majority of his body while he had a huge pot belly. He had very short, stumpy legs. His eyes were deep green and he had large lips and a long, almost canine nose. Needless to say, Joan was shocked when she saw the creature. She stared at it. It stared at her. And finally, the dog said, fuck this, and ran back up the path, pulling away from the Pukwudgie. Super weird, but that's not the worst part. The worst part is several times after that, Joan would wake up in the middle of the night and see the Pukwudgie staring at her through her bedroom window.
So it followed her home.
This happened for years until she finally moved, and that's when the Pukwudgie stopped visiting her.
Oh. They liked her too much, so they stalked her. I don't like it.
I don't know if they liked her or the dog, but either way, they followed her home. Then in 1993, this dude named Bill Russo reported seeing a similar creature. So he was walking his dog, Sam, and this thing came out of the woods. They're like walking towards the woods, and this thing popped out. And it was like motioning to him to come, and it was saying, Kier Chew, Iwa Chew, Kier. Chew, Iwa Chew. Okay? So he's staring at this thing, and it's like, you know, Kier Chew, Ian Chew, Ian Chew, you know? And him and the dog are looking at this thing, and then they kind of look at each other, and they're like, we don't want anything. I don't want to fuck with this. So they turn around and they leave. They never saw this thing again, and they kept walking by there. They never saw it again. But it kind of bothered Bill for years until one day it kind of hit him. The little thing was saying, we want you here. Come here. Here. You. Iwachu. We want you here. Oh, no. And there was only one of them. So imagine if he did walk into the woods, they would have jumped him. Nah, not good. Okay. Then this one is from 2023. Oh. A woman named Mary emailed the blog New England Folklore and reported a Pukwudgie sighting. Mary claimed she was walking her dog between 4 and 5 a.m. Fuck that. Rigs, do not wake me up. When she saw a humanoid creature with black matted fur and glowing green eyes. She told her coworkers about it the next day, and they informed her it was probably a Pukwudgie and to leave a gift so it would leave her alone.
Okay. And did she leave a gift?
I didn't find that part. What a great question. Should have looked it up. But I didn't.
No,
and that's all I know about Pukwudgies.
I mean, I just assumed that she would have left a gift because I don't want that thing following me.
I would have.
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, it's easier to leave the gift than be haunted or stalked or menaced or whatever. So what I've learned is leave the crazy alone.
Yep.
It didn't really work in your story, but in my story, leave the crazy alone and the crazy will leave you alone.
Right. The problem is with the other story is that if Dan had never really followed him, like he probably could have called the cops and said, hey, he's idling outside my house. And maybe something could have been done. But I don't know. I don't know. You're right. Don't fuck with crazy.
Yes, don't fuck with crazy. Yeah. Leave it be.
Or give it a gift.
There you go.
I don't know what gift, but give it something.
Well, I mean, we could have given your guy meth. He would have been really happy. Would have left us alone then. Here's the meth.
Here it is.
Go away. All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with us again today. I hope you liked our stories. Make sure that you are following us on social media, Facebook and InstaWebs. Love that. Wait, no, Instagram. Thank you. If you want to see our sources or see any pictures from today, you can always go to our website, deathbeforebooze.com. You will find our Patreon link there if you're all caught up and want more of our crazy. Join us over at Patreon. Subscriptions start at $5 a month. But we totally get it. Times are rough. Just make sure that you like, review, share, subscribe, ring the bell, do all the things. Tell all your friends and family to come listen to us too. That would really be appreciated. If you want some of our merch link is also at our website. I think I covered everything. Yeah. I love you so much. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Love you guys. Stay spooky. Bye.
Bye.